Warning: some videos may not use actual footage. The story is for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ever wondered what really happens behind prison walls? Join Subject Soup as we dive into a day in the life at Utah State Prison. Utah State Prison, a day in the life of an inmate. The sun rose over the Wasatch Mountains, casting a soft orange glow on the imposing walls of Utah State Prison. Inside those walls, a microcosm of society thrived and struggled, each inmate living a story of regret, reflection, and hope. One such inmate was James Parker, a man who had spent the last 5 years behind bars for a mistake that had cost him his freedom. James woke up to the blaring sound of the morning alarm at 6 a.m. The harsh noise was a reminder of his confinement, but it also signaled the start of a new day, a new opportunity to make better choices. He quickly made his bed, a small act of discipline that gave him a sense of control in an environment where control was scarce. Breakfast was served at 7 a.m. in the cafeteria. James lined up with the other inmates, tray in hand, and received his portion of oatmeal and a slice of bread. The food was basic, but it was enough to keep him going. As he ate, he looked around the room, seeing familiar faces, each with their own story, their own struggles. After breakfast, it was time for work assignments. James was part of the prison's maintenance crew, responsible for keeping the facility clean and in good repair. It was hard work, but it allowed him to move around the prison, giving him a sense of freedom within the confines of his incarceration. Working alongside other inmates, James had learned the value of teamwork and cooperation. Despite their circumstances, they formed a bond, a camaraderie that made the hours pass more quickly. They shared stories of their lives before prison, dreams of what they would do when they got out, and the lessons they had learned. Education was a vital part of life at Utah State Prison. James spent his afternoons attending classes, working towards his GED. The prison offered a range of educational programs, from basic literacy to vocational training. James knew that education was his ticket to a better future, a chance to rebuild his life after his release. In class, James found a sense of purpose. The teachers, volunteers from the outside world, brought a glimpse of hope into the prison. They treated the inmates with respect, believing in their potential for change. James was determined to prove them right, to show that he could be more than his past mistakes. Recreation time was a brief respite from the daily grind. James enjoyed playing basketball in the yard, a physical outlet for his pent-up energy. The games were intense, competitive, but they also fostered a sense of community. On the court, differences were set aside, and the inmates were just men, playing a game they loved. The yard was also a place for quiet reflection. James often found a secluded spot to sit and think, to write in his journal. Writing had become a therapeutic exercise for him, a way to process his thoughts and emotions. It was in these moments that he found clarity, a deeper understanding of himself and his journey. Counseling sessions were another crucial aspect of prison life. James met with his counselor once a week, a chance to talk openly about his feelings and struggles. The sessions were a lifeline, providing emotional support and guidance. His counselor helped him navigate the challenges of prison life and prepare for his eventual reintegration into society. Through counseling, James learned to confront his past, to take responsibility for his actions. It was a painful process, but it was also liberating. He realized that change was possible, that he could redefine his future through his choices and actions. Visiting hours were the highlight of James's week. His mother and sister visited him regularly, their presence a beacon of hope. The visits were bittersweet, filled with love and longing. They talked about family, shared memories, and made plans for the future. Each visit reminded James of what he was working towards, the life he wanted to build. Seeing his family gave James the strength to keep going, to stay focused on his goals. Their unwavering support was a reminder that he was not alone, that he had people who believed in him. It was a powerful motivator, driving him to make the most of his time in prison. Religion played an important role for many inmates, providing comfort and a sense of community. James attended weekly church services, finding solace in the familiar rituals and the messages of hope and redemption. The prison chaplain was a source of inspiration, offering guidance and support to those who sought it. The services were a reminder that despite their circumstances, the inmates were still human, still worthy of love and forgiveness. For James, it was a time to reflect on his faith, to seek strength and courage in the face of adversity. As the day drew to a close, James returned to his cell. The quiet of the evening was a time for reflection, a chance to think about the day and plan for tomorrow. He often read books from the prison library, losing himself in stories that took him far from his cell. Reading was an escape, but it was also a way to learn, to grow. James had discovered a love for literature, finding inspiration in the words of authors who had faced their own struggles. It was a reminder that everyone had a story, that everyone could change. Lights out was at 10 p.m. As James lay in his bunk, he thought about the future. He had made mistakes, but he was determined to learn from them, to become a better person. Prison had taken away his freedom, but it had also given him a chance to reflect, to grow. James knew that his journey was far from over, but he was ready for whatever came next. He had hope, a vision of a better life. And with each passing day, he moved closer to that vision, step by step, one day at a time. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride inside Utah State Prison. If you love this peek behind the bars, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more mind-blowing content from Subject Soup.